If you happen to hear the zip of a suitcase at the end of this interview, it's because Jen has officially convinced me to move to Mexico and hang out with her family in Playa del Carmen. And what the fuck? You've been there for 6 months. You are from Canada, are now in Mexico. How did this happen? Tell me everything. And your kid goes to school there, and our kids are
Yes.
close enough in age. What? What?
School here is magical. That's the first thing I want to say. They base everything outdoors. So they have an Olympic-sized swimming pool. They have a full basketball court. They have a full sunken soccer field. They have a cafeteria where they do like aerial silks. They have a massive playground. And then all the classrooms are built in like a U around this outdoor space. So everything is about being outdoors, moving your body.
Is it public?
It is private, but for all my American friends, I'm totally open to numbers.
Yeah, great. I'm like, we're going to go into it.
We're going into the numbers. We pay $700 Canadian, and he goes, which is about $200 American. It's not.
It feels like it.
The Canadian dollar is not the strongest, friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that includes him going to school from 8:30 to 2:30, and then they have an hour of tutoring after school. All the Spanish kids get an hour of English, and all the English kids get an hour of Spanish. And then that includes sports academies for an hour after that from 3:30 to Emily's typing in how to move.
I'm doing the dollar. Would you say $700 Canadian?
$700 Canadian. So he goes to school from 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. with an hour of tutoring, an hour of sports after school.
That's $500 in today's US dollars. It's January 20th right now. I would pay that in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
It's incredible.
Okay.
They have an emotional regulation class. Like they take a whole class. They have yoga once a week, and they have an emotional regulation class.
You can't get prep. I spend more than that in like ancillary tasks because she goes to public. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like and I love public schools. I support public schools. Send your kid to public schools.
100%.
Obviously, you're in a completely different country, and so
he doesn't have good enough Spanish to like.
Right. Why Mexico? What was the thought process?
So I started going to Mexico when my kid was, I think, 18 months. A girlfriend bought a condo in Tulum, and she invited me down and was like, "You need to get away from your child." And I was like, "Yes, friend,
yes, I do. Thank you."
And so then I started going every year. And then once my kid was old enough, I was like, "Hey, husband and child, why don't you come and let's go?" This is going to come to, oh my gosh, this is the most ADHD
We can take 17 routes to get to your point. That is the definition of this show.
Perfect.
My people are locked in.
Okay, great. So we started vacationing there every year. Now, I will go into this later, but I conned my husband into quitting his job because I knew that we would make more money as a family.
I also did that.
His job. Yes. United.
I did it in 2020.
Yes. Okay. So then we were like, why are we vacationing there and living in Canada? Don't get me wrong. I love Canada. Public health care all day, every day. Super progressive prime minister. Very happy. But it's cold as fuck there. I don't know if you know this. So we were like,
I've never been, but I've heard.
Man.
Inexpensive.
Yes. That was a massive piece of it, was that Ontario, where we lived, was getting pricier and pricier and pricier. It was cold. We were like, why are we vacationing here and living here? Why don't we come back in the summers and hang out with my family, your family, and then live in Playa del Carmen? So that's kind of how it happened.
Tell me about, so my biggest hesitation, I was literally just talking to someone the other day. One of my friends, Jess, we co-host another podcast together where we get into a little bit more of the like headspace and nuance behind why people make the decisions they make and what is the meaning behind it and behaviors and all of that. And I was, one of her things that she always talks about is just kind of like not having shit about your shit, right? Like if you have shit about something, fine. But like you don't need to beat yourself up about having shit about something. And so we talk about that a lot. And she says that phrase a lot. And one of the things that I used to have shit about myself was that, you know, when I was in high school, I was was on the newspaper staff, and I hated interviewing people. There's something about the social anxiety of interviewing people that I did not love, but I still wanted to write. And so I convinced our director to our editor to let me create an opinion column in our school newspaper. And I just wanted to write about like pop culture and sports and people in school. And it was a opinion slash gossip column. And she said yes. And I did the column and I never had to interview anyone else ever again. And I wrote the
God, I
column. It's great.
love.
And so from the time I was like 16, 17, I was living my like devil wears Prada life. Like that's what I felt
Yes.
like I was living. And I was the girl that was like, I'm going to go to art school in Chicago. I'm going to write. I'm going to do this. Like maybe New York, maybe Chicago, maybe this. And like that was the life I wanted to live. And then as I got closer and closer to that of potentially becoming a reality, I was like, yeah, that is not going to work for me. I have like actually a lot of social anxiety. I've never not lived from home. There were some definitely family foundation things that were very, very rocky at the time. And it just like, it wasn't for me. Right. So I didn't do
Mhm.
it. And instead, I quite literally did the opposite. And I got married as an infant and I bought a home in 2012 and started trying to get pregnant right away and like doing all of the things. And my husband has also been like, oh, in another life, like living in Chicago would have been very cool. And we always kind of talk about like, in another life, living there would be cool, living there would be cool. But we very much know that living in Kansas City and near family is very important to us. And it's not even that like we love our family that much. Like we do, they're amazing. We see them all the time. We're not one of those like freakishly big, close families. We actually come from very, very small families, but it's like the childcare aspect that's like
Yeah.
really, really helpful. My mother lives with us. We were just at my dad's last night. Like, and Brian's parents dropped our kid off at my dad's house. Like, that is the
Mm.
community that we have built here. We love that, and it's so helpful. And we very much like what I was telling my friend Jess is I've always had shit around the fact that I didn't pull the trigger and do Chicago and that I wasn't brave enough to go do that. And that like theoretically right now we still could do that, but that feels very scary and it feels like changing our kid's life and uprooting and like all of these negative things come from it. So
Mhm.
my whole point in all of that is like how you have family in Canada. You say you go back there and visit them. Like, how did that if it's a very gutsy thing to do and pull your kid from school and friends and starting over and community and all of that, like what was that about?
Um, I wanna blow your mind for a second. You are allowed to change your mind.
I don't it's hard.
Yeah. So we were like, okay. So at a point in my life, my husband and I craved more community. And this was before I got pregnant with my kid. I'm originally from the Maritimes, from the East Coast. He's from Toronto. I moved to Toronto when I was 17 to go to school. We decided after we had been married for a while and wanted to have a kid that we would move back to the Maritimes. We moved to Halifax. I got pregnant within 3 months of us moving there. And we hated every single solitary second of it. Hated it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And it felt like such a big deal that we were going to like move back to Toronto. Like we had made a mistake. We were mortified and embarrassed. We were miserable though. And so I think that we ended up moving back to Toronto and that lesson really taught us like it's okay to change our minds.
Yeah.
It's so I don't care what other people think at this point
Yeah.
in my life. People think I'm crazy for moving here and I'm like, "Well, if we hate it, we'll just come back."
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
well, we don't have we're not here for because everyone's like, "Well, how long?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I for as long as my kid is happy, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like that's definitely a big was your kid involved in any like sports or activities that you've had to kind of subsidize?
Yeah, he had a solid crew. He's like one of those people who has a ride or die. He never has like a huge group of friends, but he's like,
Yeah.
"This is my bestie and I will die for this person."
Mhm.
Um, so that was tough on him for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But literally his first day of school, he came home and he's like, "I made a friend," and now they are besties.
I
So
love that. Yeah. I am like your kid where I met my ride or die literally on the preschool swings. I found this girl and I
mm,
was like, "We're gonna be besties," and she was like, "Totes." She's my kid's godparent. We were in each other's
I
weddings.
love.
She's having her first baby. I'm going down. Like it's a whole big thing. Like that was my person. I've had my person. That was my person.
Yeah.
My kid is the opposite. And she is while she's an introvert, her social circle is the biggest circle I've ever seen in my entire life. We will go so she's been involved in a lot of different things, and we will go I remember last year at the pool, went to, like, a community pool, and she's quite literally like a politician. We're exiting the pool, and she's like, Bye, Eden. Bye, Hallie. Bye, Maggie. Bye,
Amazing.
whatever, whatever, and all these different names. And I'm like, "Who are these girls? Like, who are these people?" Because they're not all girls. And she was like, "Oh, well, so do you remember that Harry Potter camp that I did 2 years ago at this Arts and Heritage at the summer, and it was in this specific room?" She was in that camp with me. And then
I
remember I did
love
a
this.
competition in Wichita, and she wasn't on my gymnastics teams, but I competed against her, and I know her, and this person, and that person, and this per and so it's like these very she remembers everybody, she knows everybody's
Yeah.
name, she just and so do I think she could recreate that somewhere else because of that personality? Percent.
Yeah.
And a big part of it's like, but she has so many friends and so many activities and so many connections here.
It's hard. So part of what made it easy for us is that we don't have the same connection that you have to your family. I moved away from my family at a very young age at
Mhm.
17. So as much as I love them, I hope to see them once a year.
Yeah,
And that doesn't always
uh,
happen.
for sure.
My husband's parents were a little bit older and just not as involved.
Yeah,
So we weren't leaving that type of support system. And anytime I've like talked to friends being like, oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave my parents. I'm like, I get that, dude.
yeah,
We're lucky that we didn't have to make that choice. And then the age of our kid, he was heading into middle school. And so everything was
transition.
changing anyways.
Mhm.
So timing worked well for that reason because they
Yeah,
were all going to a different school or different schools all over. And so we were like, well, I think this is the time. We got
yeah,
to pull this band-aid off right now. My husband may want to go back to work someday. We don't know. Like,
right,
again,
right,
we don't know. Now was the time.
right.
So,
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, it's a very it could also just be a very Midwest thing. Maybe it's a very Kansas Cityan thing because I grew up like this, and I grew up about 45 minutes north of where we live right now, and so did my husband, and all of our friends also experienced this. Where, like, it's a very, I think, Midwest thing to have your community within school, and our schools don't tend to separate at different transitions. It's like this elementary, all of these people go to this middle school, and all of these people go to this high school. There's new people coming in, but they've all gone to preschool to
yeah,
elementary to middle together. So there's a very like it's a big deal if I mean there are conversations now of people because my kiddo's in third grade and there are parents who are like, okay, we're thinking about moving, but we're changing districts. Like, should we do it at third grade or fourth grade? Like, which one is less hard? And like, okay, do we do it
yeah,
now? And it's just a different kind of pressure here, I think, because it's a great community aspect and it kind of locks you in a little bit.
yeah. I'm like that. I went to school with the same people. I was in French immersion in Canada. And so there's like 15 of us, and
Yeah.
we were together for
Yeah.
basically the entirety of our education.
Yeah.
And there's something wonderful about that. And there's something hard about that too, you
For
know?
sure. Because I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, yes, I think the qualities of why we're staying here are for very great reasons and very life impacting reasons. As are you deciding to give your kid this entirely different experience.
Yeah. My kid is going to know 3 languages by the time
Yeah.
he's 12.
That's
And
fucking
that's
bananas.
awesome.
Yeah.
He was in French immersion in Canada like I was, and now he's learning Spanish. He's get hours of Spanish every day.
That's amazing.
It's so cool.
What is and then we can talk businessy things, I
I
guess,
know.
but,
Oh god.
um, what is just like how was aside from the temperature, how is,
Yeah.
like, day-to-day quality of life different? That right there.
Yeah. I like breathing the fresh air, stepping outside and having the sun hit my face. I am an ocean girly. I was born on the East Coast,
Yeah,
on the Atlantic Ocean, and so having that in the air, being able to put my feet in the water, for me, my quality of life has just massively changed. Every winter in Canada, I just wouldn't leave the house, and my husband and my child would make fun of me, and I'd be like, "I am not
I'm
built
not
for the
going
cold.
outside.
I'm
Yeah,
just not built for this. I don't
mhm,
know. My body hates it. My bones ache. I don't wanna do it." And so to be able to change that aspect of my life is such a massive, massive shift for me.
yeah, yeah. What's been the hardest thing to get
Um,
used to or that you miss?
the pace of life. So we moved here to slow down,
Yeah,
and then you have to remember that, like, you actually have to slow down. Like,
yes, yes,
society is obviously gonna
yes.
force you to, but then you also need to not be annoyed when something just takes longer.
That is so funny that you bring that up because we travel to Mexico often. If I don't get to Mexico once a year, I you don't wanna be around me. Um, and I think I love it because I've always gone. I started going when I was, in junior high, high school. My family had a place there, and then, it's so affordable to travel there and to be there, and I love it. Um, we went there on our honeymoon. We go back every year. We've brought friends, like, we've tried all the resorts, like, we do all the things. Um, and when I'm there, I am forced to slow down because I feel rude bringing in my urgency to the space,
Yep.
and I have a visceral memory. I think I was 20 or 21, and I was doing a trip with just my mom, and we were there, and there was something that we had signed up for, so it had a time and a date, right? And so we had our tickets, and but something about it was behind, or, like, I didn't like how slow everyone was going because I thought we were gonna miss it or we were gonna be late or whatever, and so I'm just,
Mhm.
like, doing my, like, anxiety thing of pressuring and doing all the thing, and the person who's, like, organizing the activity was like, "You need," like, lovingly, he was like, "You need to chill. Like, we'll get there when we get there. Like,
Yes.
enjoy being here. Like, you're here. Enjoy being here." And at first I
Yes.
was like, "That's really rude. Like, I bought a ticket for this thing." And then I just kind of, like, sat with that and, like, let it just be true and just be like, "Okay, like, they're not gonna leave me. Yes, I paid for it,
Yeah.
but, like, part of it is just us getting there when we get there."
The
And, like,
journey.
yeah, I feel like you're gonna be a different regulated type of person
Yeah.
after this.
I might be butchering this, but I love language, and there was a man who we've met who explained to me that the term in Playa del Carmen, at least, I don't know if this is true throughout all of Mexico, is ahorita, which means, like, it'll happen when it happens.
It'll happen
It'll
when it happens.
happen on Mexico time. It'll happen when it happens. And so now my husband and I, when we feel ourselves getting that, like,
Feeling that.
vibration, we're like, "Ahorita,
Yeah,
ahorita." Like,
yeah.
just
I love that. I love
yeah.
that. I cannot wait to hear. I almost wanna do, like, pencil in a year from now interview of being like, "Okay, this is what you said January 20th of 2026.
Yeah.
How does it feel now and what has changed?" Because I think it's truly, like, such a life-altering experience, and I know a lot of people here in the US in the last year or so, have been leaving and have been making plans to leave and being in other places, at least temporarily, and it's definitely been on our radar. We are raising a non-white child, and so it's a very strong part of our
Yep.
conversation. And she's a girl, and so, there are a lot of things into that. Um and there's definitely been the, like, okay, I've done the cost of Portugal or Costa Rica or Canada or, all of these other places, and I don't know, hearing you even bring up Mexico as an option, I'm like, literally, that is second home for me, and
Yeah.
that would be the easiest transition, I feel
You've
like.
already got that, like, connection.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that
and
makes
literally
sense to
my
me.
dad's family is from there, and so
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a lot I feel like I could figure out there, and
Yep. It would be easier for you.
I love this so much. Well, I also know my listeners are like, "Okay, but you're interviewing Jenn Green from Jenn Green Marketing, and we need to be talking about everything that she knows in her brain." I think this is pretty timely because I know, you had brought up kind of like funneling and what people should do before or after, who they're working with specifically. And it's funny because right now I'm in the middle of writing a really in-depth Substack post on. I love to give kind of behind the scenes to my paid subscribers over there of more of just like, here's what I'm thinking, here's what I'm testing, and here's what I'm doing, whatever. And so because it's still January, somehow it's still January.
No.
It is still January. I'm writing a really in-depth explainer and behind the scenes thought process of my one of my marketing initiatives that I'm rolling out in 2026. And I'm leaning really heavily into Pinterest and long form content
Mhm.
and blogging and SEO and et cetera. And so I'm walking through like, here's specifically why in year 3 of this version of my business, because I'm going into year 15 as a business owner, but year 3 of this specific
This
container,
iteration, yep.
this iteration, yeah. Um, that I waited until year 3 to specifically care about what anyone might call a funnel, and it's not a funnel, but it is everything is a funnel, like, if there's a journey and there's
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I'm one of
Yes.
the like, everything's a funnel, get over it, the word is not the problem. Um, but I'm talking about in my article, um, why I waited until year 3 to introduce this aspect. What are the 4 metrics and only these 4 metrics that I actually care about, and, like, how is it actually gonna impact the entire ecosystem of my offers? And so I'd love to hear your perspective on the funnel n niche of marketing, and what does that really mean to you, and where do you see it kind of falling short and working?
I agree with you 100%. Everything is a funnel.
Yeah, everything is a fucking funnel.
Everything is a funnel. And I'm a strategist specifically for funnels. And I'm not trying to reduce what I do. I think that there is a really beautiful part about someone who's going to be in your business and keeping an eye on all the puzzle pieces and being able to like regulate you. And when you're like, oh, my offer sucks, no one's buying, you're like, okay, it's maybe not your offer. Do
Uh-huh.
you have enough eyeballs? Is this email getting too many unsubscribes?
Yes.
What's our sales page? How far down your sales page are people scrolling? Like, I'm almost like a central nervous regulator for people with their funnels.
Yes.
Um, because I think people put so much weight on the offer at the end of the funnel.
Okay. It's just so timely because literally I could almost read you verbatim a paragraph that I have pulled up right here where I'm explaining to people in the Substack post where I'm talking about the metrics that I'm caring about. And if I'm using Pinterest, then okay, to me, the first point of metric I need to look at are analytics that have to do with the Pinterest platform and which are the metrics that Pinterest cares about the most of if they have 20 metrics that you could look at, what is the one or 2 that they care about the most, because I don't care about all of them. I'm not gonna tweak everything to death. And then what does that metric specifically do next in the funnel, right? So for me, we're starting at my end goal. We'll just work backwards. My end goal for the entire point of all of this content is so that I can increase my sales to my signature program. If that's my end goal, I am not saying, okay, well, if Pinterest doesn't convert a student next month, then it's not working. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not measuring that. I'm not looking at that. That is what we're talking about, right? But for me, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just like it's such a breath of fresh air because when people hire me, they want results fast. And I get that. If you're
I get it.
putting, right, like if you're pouring money into me, you want to see results. But I have to constantly remind people that marketing, no matter what you're doing, whether it's Facebook ads or SEO blogs or Pinterest or posting organic content on Instagram, all of it takes time. We're in this world of business virality where people are like, if things go
Yes.
viral, then my whole business takes off. And yes, that has happened, but that's like winning $1 million. And
Yes.
it doesn't always work that way. And so,
And I'm gonna tell you right now, if y'all
yeah,
don't have the foundation set up behind the scenes and your offer productized, going viral could
yes,
bankrupt your business and
yes,
kill it. Like
yes,
kill it dead.
100%.
I've seen it happen.
So you talking about what I think is changing in funnels is they're all the same. It nothing is really changed. It's just that I see a shift in people moving towards these slower traffic sources.
Yeah.
Less people paying for Facebook ads,
Yep.
less people posting 900 reels hoping one goes viral, and more people being like, "Oh, I should blog again."
Yes. Yes.
And
So
you should.
and what's funny is I feel like everyone and maybe you have actual data on this. From my perspective of just scrolling threads until my eyes bleed, I feel like everyone and their mother is focused on YouTube in 2026. And
True.
I'm kind of a rebellious business owner where I'm like, if the crowd is going that way, I'm going to go this way. And it's worked well for me for the past 15 years. And so I lean into that whenever I'm getting that kind of tug. But I feel like I would get a newsletter of like, happy January, here's my new YouTube strategy, or happy January, here's what I'm investing on YouTube, or here's what I'm doing, or go watch this video. And I love that for them. I want that to work exponentially for those people. And I don't want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, what feels like a lower lift for me, or what feels more me, or what feels exciting? Because if you're not excited about your own marketing initiatives, you're not going to do it. If you're not excited about creating the content that is required for the specific marketing initiative that you're deploying, you're not going to do it. I love writing. I'm a writer. And so I'm picking something long form. But I specifically saw uh, Jana, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm so sorry. She's of Jana O Media. She created a program called High Leverage Content. Are you familiar with this?
Yes, but
Okay.
also through Threads, I think is how I found
Through
out about
Threads,
this.
yes.
Yeah.
So I invested in it, and her whole concept, the true high one sentence version is she helps you create a capsule blog. She has 9 pillars of content, and you learn what those pillars are and how to create that content, and then you spend a lot of time. I'm a writer, okay? So I can write quickly and I can write well quickly. But I also trust an expert. And if they're saying, this is the framework and the order that you need to create this particular piece of content, then I'm going to follow that. And I'm at least going to do it for one post. If I hate the result, I'll go back to my old way. But I'm damned. I really liked the blog post that came from her framework. And that bitch took me all in probably 4 or 5 hours to write. I have never taken that long to
I know. But you're going to have that for so long.
Yes. It's live right now. Everyone go read it.
It's not going to head into the Instagram
Right.
ether, and never come back. And, this is why I'm such a huge advocate of slow. I'm an advocate of both. I'm an advocate of slow form content and quick content. You need to have both.
And understand your platform. Like,
yes.
Don't spend 6 hours writing threads, for the love of God.
Oh my God, no. If it's going to disappear fast, then write it fast.
Right.
And if it's going to stick around for a long time, then you better take your time to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so going back kind of to the funnel, and I want to outline this just so I can keep getting more gold stars from you. But here's a section right now. I'm pulling it up. It says the only metrics I care about. So if my ultimate goal is conversions into sold out service, that's the end goal. Okay. The thing that has to happen right before that is I want to be measuring the opt-ins into my lead magnet that is already proven to convert to sales. It's not a new lead magnet. I've converted it on its own, share it on Threads. I share it in an email sequence. It's on my website. When people sign up for that lead magnet, some of them buy my program. Amazing, right? Okay, so that tells me this is a green flag for the more people I get into that program or that lead magnet, the more theoretically, the more people that should convert into my program. Okay, so now we're continuing to work backwards. What do I need to get people into my opt-in? How do I measure that? I need outbound clicks from Pinterest. That's it. One of the other metrics, and I wouldn't have cared about this one, but I did also invest in a program called Pin Potential by Megan Williamson. She's been in the space for
fellow Canadian.
Yes. She's been in the space for a long time. Not that I don't trust new people. I hire new people all the time. I'm also working with a newer person for copy. But specifically for platform related strategies and expertness, I do like someone who's been through multiple iterations of a platform who can give me the nuances of like, yeah, because I've been very successful on Pinterest before. My previous company, like it was a huge factor for traffic. I understand it. I understand the mechanics of it. I want someone to tell me what are the 3 things I can do for 2026 that I might not know about, right? So she told me a strong indicator of engagement are also saves on Pinterest. So I was like, if I could only look at 2 metrics, what would they be? And she said saves and outbound clicks. So that's it. I don't care
You don't
about
have to worry about the rest.
I don't care about traffics to my pin boards. I don't give a shit about that. Outbound clicks, saves, opt-in conversions, and then ultimately sales conversions. But guess fucking what? The last 2, Pinterest has not, like, I control that. If those last 2 metrics aren't performing well, that's not Pinterest's job. That's my job to fix.
Yes, 100%. Gold star.
Thank you.
Again, like exactly what you said though. People will say my freebie's not working, and I'll say, what does that mean? And they'll say, well, barely anyone signed up for it. And I'm like, okay, cool. How many people have landed on that page? And they're like, I don't know. I posted it on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, cool. How many times? They're like, well, 2 to 3 times. And I'm, want to FaceTime a little bit, but I don't because I love my clients. And I understand that this is not what they're told.
But we lovingly slam our head into the desk sometimes.
Exactly. Where they're like, well, I'm like, we don't know that this lead page is not working. We don't know that this freebie isn't working. We haven't had enough eyeballs on it to say that. And that is going to take more effort and more time, which is annoying. I know we want to make sales. But if you can get more eyeballs on that page and figure out what a conversion rate is for that page, then you can actually make the decision. This
Yep.
lead magnet does not work,
Yep.
or this landing page does not work.
Yep. Well, and I love that someone posted this the other day on Threads, and it was about Facebook ad spend, but it's the same concept. Stand the value of a conversion for your offer
Yes.
and for your price point, right? So she was saying something about like, I could feel bad every time someone shares about their, $1.50 lead that they got off Facebook that then bought something. But are they buying a $9 offer? I will gladly pay $500 for a lead on Facebook because they're buying a $4,500 container. And that's like another version of what we're talking about here.
100%. It's the nuance of your business
Mhm,
and what
mhm.
you're selling and what that looks like.
Yep,
100%.
yep. It's just why taking, like, the blanket, like, the clickbaity marketing headlines of, like, "Get a 50-cent lead." Okay, to what? For what?
Yes.
Like,
For why?
get all you need is 20 sales a day of what? Like,
Yeah.
where
At what
and how
price
am I
point?
getting them?
Yeah, this is the thing that I think I've learned the hard way, that like the big, big players, like Maria Went, for example, has a
Yeah.
super successful business, but the amount of money that she spends on ads
Yes.
is astronomical. It's not even like possibly achievable by most business owners. And that's okay. That's how she chose to scale. I'm not judging how she chose to scale. She still takes home a fuck ton of money.
Mhm.
What I am saying is that you cannot compare yourself. You and I are obviously on the same side of threads because I saw that Facebook post as well, that like conversion. But the other thing that happened is when Jenna Kutcher was like, I'm going to drop my
Yes.
podcast, and Amy Porterfield was like, I'm going to drop my course. And
I was
everyone was
there
like,
too.
our
Yep.
course is dead. And I'm like, well, like, and
No.
they weren't saying that. They weren't like, I'm dropping my podcast. Everyone should drop their podcast. Podcasting is out. Like in
Right.
their defense, they never said
They did
that.
not say that.
People just assumed that they need to do what the big names are doing in order to achieve that status of business. And that is never, ever, 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 ever the case.
Nope.
It's just never the
And
case.
it's never the case, and literally why this podcast exists is because service providers, one-on-one, done with you or done for you service providers, have also been marketed to for the past decade plus from one to many marketers and business owners. Um, and I think Maria Went is good at some of the messaging where she's like, "This is for other digital products," right? Like, do I think she could probably clarify it a little bit better? Sure. Do I think digital products are the fastest way for you to make six figures? No. Um, I am team services until I die. But again, it's speaking to a completely different audience member. Um, but deploying strategies that she uses or she teaches, they're specifically designed for low price digital offers. And using
Exactly.
that strategy as a service provider might not give you the same result. And you're going to be pumping out content until your eyeballs bleed and
If
not
you
landing a client.
if you enjoy being a marketer, if you enjoy making videos all of the time and posting on Instagram all of the time, and quite frankly, creating new products
New
all of the
products, that's the
time,
key.
always you have to, because you are churning and burning. And I don't mean that in the negative way,
It's
in
just
that
what it
it's not
is.
a value. Exactly. You have to come up with a new thing in the hopes that then those same people will buy again,
Yep.
as opposed to just selling, not just, but selling a $5,000 program or whatever,
Right. Right.
or service.
Right.
Um, and I don't think people think that entire process through from
They don't
beginning
think
to
it through,
end.
even sometimes when it's, like, it's blatantly told, like, Maria said her goal for 2026, I think their goal is to create 40 or 50 new
Yes,
offers.
50. That was right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
Yeah,
right.
and so, previously, she's shared how she creates 1 new offer per month, and so she went from 12, which I think she was doing more than that even last year. Maybe she did 24 offers last year. That's doubling it in 2026, and so that's a content company. That's a media company at that
Exactly.
point.
And if you love that, you
I
go.
love that for you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
100%. there's just there's two sides of the coin, right?
Mhm.
There are people who get bored and love to sell new different things all the time to new different people. And then there are people who are like, I have my jam, I know what I'm doing, I know that I can deliver with this thing. And so I'm just going to sell that.
Yep. Yep. I think the subset of that conversation too, and I wanna jot this down for a future episode idea for my other podcast because I want Jess's perspective on this from the brain mental side. I've been in a business where creating more content and more products was the way to scale. And this version of my business is I've been committed to I'm doubling down on one thing. I have one offer. I have one offer that is a done with you, and it's that same offer, but very done for you one on one custom on the consulting side. Same offer, two different ways of delivering it, two different ideal clients because they're very vastly different budgets. Yeah, Jen's pointing to herself, 100% same. That is personally my ideal way to scale in this season of my life. I get to go deep and wide, and I know that my lights are being kept on with my consulting clients who I love very, very much. And then the fun play content visibility gets to be exercised over here in the done with you container, right? But I've been in this space of I need to create a new offer every month, every quarter to sell to kind of the same group of people. And I need to grow that group of people. And then I'm going to keep selling to that. Right. And when I was running that business, I didn't want to run the type of business that running right now.
Yeah.
And for me, what I now know because of therapy and conversations and reflections and growing up, right? Like maturing in this
Yes.
space, that's a big part of it. Of the and I'm saying this so that you guys can kind of reflect on this too. If you also have told yourself like, "No, I just get bored and I just like the excitement of making the things and I don't want to double down on one thing." What I didn't know that I was missing in that conversation was I was scared to double down on one thing. I
Yep.
was scared to say, "These are the results I can provide for you and I'm going to stand 10 toes down in those results. And I'm only going to talk to these people who want this result." I was scared to do that. It felt safer to create something new every time I turned around.
So I have a coach finally. I've done all of the coaching, I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody has, but I finally have a coach who I really, really deeply, deeply trust. And she wrote something really poignant for me about nervous system regulation around your business and how creating those new offers and being scared to maintain that one is like boredom manifesting in your life, but that maybe it has nothing to do with business. Like maybe you should go out and get a hobby.
Yes.
Maybe you
Yes.
should go learn how to paint or take up tap dancing.
Girl, I'm crocheting a cardigan.
Exactly. Right? Then she was like, it feels like business is the thing that's like easy, quote unquote, to change. Your life is actually harder. But like from a central nervous system regulation piece, your business should not be the place in which you try to solve your boredom problem.
No, no, no. I talk about this all the time. I accidentally started a second business to solve my boredom problem. When I was at my previous company, I was like, "Oh, I need this hobby. I need something." And so during nap times and when my kid was asleep, I started to hand make jewelry. I was doing polymer clay jewelry when it got really
Mm,
popular a couple of years ago. And then of course I started because I'm really good at marketing and selling, and so, of course, when I started sharing them, people wanted to buy them, so I quickly made a shop, and then my first launch sold out, and then it snowballed into I woke up a year later, and I was like, "Well, I'm running 2 jobs. I have
yes.
2 businesses, and this one isn't exciting anymore," and because it was a hobby, but now I feel like I have to do it
Now you're
because I
stressed and
monetized.
yes, yes,
Mhm. Mhm. So I just keep picking harder and harder hobbies for me to I can't mass produce a crocheted cardigan.
yes.
It
I
that
love
this
that.
this has taken months for me to create, and I'm gonna wear it, and I might never make another one kind of thing.
Yes, yes,
And that for me, yeah, I have a sourdough starter that I'm mothering, right? And
yes,
doing that, and they're slower. This is funny how this conversation is looping back to the intentional slowdown of
yes.
of being the point.
So my theme this year, last year, my theme was ease, and every decision I made was like, what's the easiest decision? It didn't have to be the cheapest decision. It needed to be the easiest decision. This year, my theme is the year of slow exposure.
Mm,
And for exactly that reason, I want all of my hobbies to be slow. So I'm taking photography back up, analog photography,
mm,
where I
mm, mm.
have to like frame
Yep,
the
that's
image
my
and I'm
major.
I love it. Oh, I love
Yep,
it. Okay. So this was a passion of mine. I have 11 cameras. I brought some to Playa with me. I haven't used them in ages. And the iPhone has destroyed me because I just
yes,
snap now.
yes,
And I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to slow down. I want to frame the image. I want to wait to get it developed to see if it turned out. And if it didn't, I'm not going to make that mean anything.
yep, yep,
Same thing with working out. I was like running into classes and doing HIIT classes and F45 and all of those things. So this year I'm like, nope, I'm going to do body recomp. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to weight lift slowly. I'm going to go to Pilates to heal my little tendons and joints.
yep,
And I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to speed up. I'm not on a timer here. Like all of these things, watercolor, sourdough,
yes,
everything is slow. The year
yes.
of slow exposure is what I'm going through. So
I love that, and I love that terminology. I'm sure you've been served these. If you haven't yet, you're going to now because I'm saying it out loud to you. Have you been served any of the ads for Camp Snap, those cameras?
no, okay, yeah, my phone is listening, so I'm sure
It's
I'm gonna
listening.
start getting them any second now.
So their whole thing is like bringing analog back. Analog is really
Yes.
popular right now and it's very trendy. I don't know if you've seen also this trend on TikTok. What do they call it? The girlies are calling it the analog bag. And it's
Yes.
basically a big tote
Yes.
bag full of projects.
Of, like,
And I'm like,
coloring book.
that's called my purse, babes.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But and so analog is like really trendy and really marketable right now. But they've created these cameras. There's no screen. It acts like a film camera, but it's digital. And so it's the best of both worlds where like
Mm.
for me, I love a film camera. I have a whole like my bookshelf right here is full of vintage film cameras. Um and for some reason I'm still hung up on just like the cost of like film and then
Oh,
developing and the
I know,
processing. Like
I
that's a
know.
sticking point for me right now. I'll grow out of it eventually, but I needed something that was like the best of both worlds. And this camera I think was like 79 bucks, so super affordable. It's rechargeable, so there's no batteries, so it's so lightweight. But there's like 4 filter settings and an on and off button and a flash, and that's it. And there's the tiny view hole, and it kinda gives you a Polaroid-esque output that
Yes,
I very
yes.
much enjoy,
Yeah.
and I really like it, and so that's what I've been fiddling with that camera. Yeah. You
Okay,
can take, like, 500 photos on a charge, so, like yeah,
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
it's really good. They have different colors, it's really pretty, so
Good.
yeah, it's very
I
nice.
the, like, hurdle of paying for the film and the development was definitely in my way, and I was like, I just have to remember that, like, if I only snap 1 picture a week,
Yeah, exactly,
that's
exactly.
okay.
Yep,
You
yep,
know? Again,
yep.
that slowing down, and I'm like, "Surely I can afford a picture a week."
Well, and I think the next thing that I would encourage you to do, and only because this was my major, is see if there's like an actual dark room you could get a membership to or get access
Mm,
to
that's a
and
good
test
call.
one roll to develop yourself.
Do it myself, yeah.
I was of the this makes me feel so old. I was the last class in my high school and then therefore college that got to experience the dark room training. So there was a dark room in my high school, like, in our
Same, same.
photography room, we had a dark room,
Yep.
and then they ripped it out the next year. When I went to college, I had it was a photography major, and there was a dark room in college, and it was my last semester of my last year that they were taking it out and
Oh,
moving all to digital,
that breaks my heart.
and I can smell the chemicals, I can picture
Yeah.
the dimness of the room and the tubs and the tongs, and it just is such a visceral experience for me, and I miss it so much. I always said again, one of my, like, "I'm going to the city girl," I wanted a dark room in my house, like, when I grew up,
Yes.
that was one of the things I wanted.
I love that. You're not grown up yet. You could
I
still
know, I
have.
can still have it, yeah. I
Now
need
you
some
have grown up
ventilation.
money. Yeah, you need
I
some ventilation, but you have grown
yeah,
up
think of all
money
the
now.
money I could save.
Exactly, right?
That could be another I'll develop your film for you.
Exactly. Don't monetize your hobbies. Don't do it. The millennial urge to monetize your hobbies.
Oh, that's so funny. I wanna know, and maybe you don't know the answer to this question yet, but, like, if that's your word of the year and that's your intentionality in various aspects, have you seen that? I mean, we're 20 days in, but have you seen that impact your meetings with clients or the strategies that you're developing or what you're bringing to the table for them?
Yeah, all of the above. Um, I because I'm like you and I'm very one-on-one based right now. Um, we'll talk later about like the thing that I'm developing, which is exactly what you said, which is like an iteration of what I do, but for more people at the same time. Which is not a course. But because of that, I become very dedicated to my clients and
Mhm.
I answer them immediately. And once again, my wonderful coach was like, that's not good for you. That's going to lead to burnout. Your
Yep.
nervous system is on high alert. You think everything is an emergency. And I was like, yep, yep, then yep. So I am trying to even just wait an hour to respond to clients as a slow way
Yep.
to just
Yep.
slowly
Yep.
distance myself.
Schedule send the email. I
Yes,
think
I've started
a
doing
good
that
middle ground is
too.
write it right now if you want
Yes.
to,
If I need
and
to
then
like get it off of the headspace,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and then schedule send. So that, and I am being really intentional with my clients to make sure that we are focusing our email section of our funnel on our slow buyers, not just our quick buyers. Everything's
yes,
about like or has been in the past about like deadline timers and like making sure you've got a discount for a
urgency,
certain
yes,
yeah,
yep, yep, yep.
100%.
Fast
And
action.
so exactly. And what I mean, I've always been like this, but I really am intentionally trying to figure out how to maintain a relationship with our slow buyers.
Yeah,
People who just
yeah,
need more time. It doesn't matter how many discounts you give them. It doesn't matter how much urgency you give them. It doesn't even matter if you're launching. If they just need more time, then let's give them more time. They can join your next launch. We're talking about longevity here as opposed to like immediacy. And
yep,
so I'm really focusing on these long nurture sequences and
I
making
love
sure that my clients maintain a relationship and are not just thinking about the next launch or the
yeah,
next discount or the
and,
people who
like,
are joining.
discounting those people because they didn't buy, okay, now we have our new people, our
Yes.
fresh faces, yeah,
Yes. And actually giving those people who've been in your sphere for longer some
yep.
love and attention as well.
Yes, yes, I love that so much, and I feel like that kinda comes into play with the, like, the kinda age-old business advice and strategy of, like, nurture not even they're not a customer, but they're an audience member. I think that, like, traditional business
Yeah.
advice for doesn't take into account how online businesses, like, really work, because you can have a bunch of subscribers or people who read your content or interact with you on threads, and to me, that's you coming into the shop, and some of you come into my
Yep.
shop every day, and you don't buy anything, but you say hello and we chat for a little bit, and that is a relationship I really value, and so how are we still nurturing that and being mindful of that?
My emails are very important to me. That is like where I used to primarily focus my funnel strategy was just in the email portion of this. Um, and I get replies from people who have never bought from me, but they reply
Mhm.
to me almost every week.
Yeah.
And those are the people that kind of keep me going some days.
Yes.
Where they're like,
Yes.
I hear you and I see you and I am you and thank you for writing this because it means a lot to me. And I don't ever see those people as a dollar sign. I don't think they're a waste of space on my list. I will gladly pay for them to be on my list until
Yep.
they decide it's time
Yep.
because they are having that conversation is some days what keeps me going.
I could not agree more, and I'm sure some of you listening know this feeling and understand it, but if a lot of service providers also don't have an email list because we don't need like that massive visibility, right? So sometimes it is rare that a service provider will have one. So maybe you don't understand this feeling, but I wrote an email um a couple of days ago and it was an email or I can't remember, but it was a piece of content and I pushed it out and I got a few responses and every single time if I send out a piece of content specifically in email and I get comments or replies, like it's so exciting to see that pop up of like truly think about like you sent an email and it landed in someone's crowded inbox and they decided to open it and then they decided to read it And then they decided to have a thought about it that wasn't just like it's background noise in their brain. They had a thought about it. And then they decided to share that thought with you and like open the
Yes.
email and type a response and communicate that. To me, those are a lot of steps that someone is taking in all of the things that they have going on in their lives. And I have some people who are always replying, on an Instagram story or an email or after a webinar or whatever, who I know will never ever buy. They've been around for 15 years and they won't buy. And like they have been my business cheerleader since like day 1, and that it's so exciting to see their names pop up. And someone responded to the content I was talking about, and they asked a question specifically, and they're like, "Okay, well, you're talking about capacity, but like if I bill hourly, like that is my capacity. So what does it mean here?" And I like wrote them a response, and it just felt really good to have that engaging. It wasn't like, "Here's a short answer, now go sign up for this." It's just we're
Yeah.
having a conversation.
Or being like, "My freebie answers that que" don't do
Right.
that,
No,
friends.
I'm
Don't
gonna
do that.
answer it for you.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that's the other layer here of service providers. The cool thing that we get to do is spend the time with our leads and our audience and our
Yes.
nurture. The thing that the one to many people don't have time to do, and they tell you to outsource, and they tell you to don't reply to, and don't respond to the comments, and don't email this person, and it takes you 2 weeks to sometimes hear back from those people if you have a question about what offer you should buy, and then by that point the bonus has expired and then they're not going to give it to you. You all know the
Yeah.
experience I'm talking about. We don't have to operate like that. And we don't need to set up systems to support operating like that. I just chatted with a client today, yesterday and today. She asked a question about, like, okay, should I set up this automation to nurture these people to do this thing? And it's a very viable thing in her funnel, so to speak. And I said, you had 4 people buy that service. Can you have 4 one-on-one conversations? And she was like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm like, don't worry about the automation then. You
Yeah.
don't need it.
We really are existing in this world of too much automation. We've gone too far down the AI rabbit hole and the
Huh.
automation rabbit hole. There is a time and a place, but if I mean, I wouldn't do this, but if I did buy a program and there was an AI coach, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I join those things for human connection. I don't want your AI robot that you programmed your brain into to answer my questions. Just don't offer that. And same thing, I'm with you with automations. We can overly automate and we
Yep.
forget that there's a human
Yep.
behind all of this.
Yeah.
And it's something I keep reminding my clients because they're like, funnels are not all of my clients. Other people are saying funnels don't work because my clients' funnels work. But
Right. Mine do.
mine, um, but people are like, funnels don't work anymore. And I'm like, that's because we've eliminated every personal aspect out of the funnel. We have
Yeah,
just automated them to the nth degree, and they're not working as well because people can see right through them.
exactly. Well, and they're not working, so then therefore you need 10 times the amount of leads to push in to get the result that you want, and that part feels overwhelming and
Yeah.
expensive to a lot of business owners.
Yeah.
And for full transparency, I have a couple of bots inside of my program, and I want to at least introduce another concept of how I do feel like they are being supportive. They're not a Q&A for my group. If you have a question, ask me, submit a support
Yeah.
ticket, right? In order for me to increase my capacity, and this conversation I have a lot with service providers and kind of at the states that you're in right now, like how do I take what has historically been very one-on-one or very, the only way historically have seen people do it is make it super DIY, but I don't want to do that either. What does the done with you container and what does done with you actually mean? And how do we actually create that system? So in order for it to be truly done with you and not done for you, so the price point is more accessible, but then my time is honored. I have 3 very specific, and they're embedded. They're not ChatGPTs. They're custom, like, tools that I made
Yep.
and designed, and they're embedded inside the program. Um, they're not Rad Genius either. Like that, it's a software that I pay $50 a month for, that I made, that I designed, that's integrated here. And so how I ask my clients to use it is to use the frameworks, yes, that I have, go through the thought exercise. I want them to create their rough draft, like messy version, and that's what I want them to submit. Like it's maybe version B, like they've done A rough draft, it's B now, they've refined it a little bit. But then when I see it, I want to be able to spend my expert time perfecting it and taking it to like, okay, now this is approved and done. Now you can go implement it. Because the
Yes.
less back and forth we have for nitty gritty things like that, the more data we can get, and then we can have very strategic, bigger conversations when we have our one-on-ones and when we have our check-ins. So, I just wanna throw that out there of, like, I
No,
think that there is a way sometimes, but I agree with you.
there is, and so we're so similar. I in this new, like, mentorship that I'm launching, which is done with you, I also have a bot, not as fancy as yours. She's just a ChatGPT basic bitch.
Yeah.
But what she does is I think people come to me with their funnels and they don't entirely know what's broken. And so
Yeah.
yeah, so this gives you the opportunity to answer even just basic questions. How many people landed on that page? Okay, well then how many people went through your emails? What
Yes.
emails so that when they come to the coaching calls, the hot seat calls,
They
they're like
have that.
it because exactly that I would
Love it.
ask them those same 7 questions
Yep.
if we got
Now
on a
we
call
just saved
together.
15 minutes
Exactly.
per person. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
So they
you could
come to
just
me
say
and say, "Hey, my bot, she
said
told
this.
me, yeah, she told me that I actually it's my sales page. I'm not getting," and I'm like, "Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Let's
Let's
pull
focus
up
on
that
that.
sales page and let's look." Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it acts as like your filter, your audit, your qualifier of what is the actual problem,
Yeah.
which
Because
is
I'm gonna
really
ask you those questions anyways.
exactly.
So, yeah.
I love that. Yes. Oh, so good. Okay, well, let's talk about the refinements of that container and what are you building and what's coming in 2026 and why are you interested in making changes?
Your girl's burnt out,
What?
like most business owners,
Yeah.
and I am lucky, touch wood, at a place where I have to say no a lot of the time now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I just can't. I don't have the time. I have my ride or dies who've been with me for 5 years. I love them. I mean, they're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. So,
Mhm.
and truthfully, when I love going into people's programs and teaching, and
Yeah.
that lights me up. I love a good hot seat. I love
Mm.
educating, but I hate courses. I am the queen of the graveyard of courses. Tons I've never touched, never even looked at. I can't morally do that. That makes my sense of justice go crazy a little bit. So I want it done with you container because funnels are fluid. They should never be stagnant. You should always be checking. You should always be looking. You should always be tweaking.
Mhm.
People just don't know what to do, or
Mhm.
they'll hire me for a pack, like a project, and be like, "Can you build me this funnel?" And I'd be like, "Absolutely." But then what do they do with it afterwards?
Yeah. Yep.
9 times out of 10, they break it by accident. I can do only so much if they don't have me like on retainer. So how do I offer retainer without the price tag that a retainer costs
Yep.
to have me in your business all the time?
Yep.
I have a done with you program called What the Funnel. So thank you. Thank you. Um, what the funnel is wrong with my funnel, right?
Yeah,
So
I love it.
2 hot seat calls a month, 2 submissions a month. This is for people who are in that like almost 6K ish place that don't want to pay someone to fully take it off their hands and stay in their business and look at it. So they can come to me with their funnel problems and go, I don't want to throw this whole thing out the window. I need to know what to tweak now. And we will get on a hot seat call in a group
Yeah.
setting where everybody can watch. That group is maxed out at 10 people because I don't want 100 people and not be able to service in the same way that I'd like to. So very small group, but it's a way to have my brain in your business on the reg without the price tag of having me as like a CMO basically for your
Yeah.
funnels.
Yeah. Is there a monthly commitment?
I usually say 3 months. I want you to stay for 3 months because again, that's how long it's going to take
Mark.
to see
Yeah.
results. Um, and that's usually how long like a launch cycle should be. It's 8 to 12 weeks. So it'd be nice to have you through an entire launch cycle.
Mhm.
But after that, then you move month to month.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I I think that a lot more service providers, but also people who've gone down the one-to-many digital route are kind of finding the joy in the hybrid offer like this.
Yeah.
I consider this a very much hybrid offer where you do get one-on-one feedback and attention and support in a group setting or in
Yes.
a container, right? Um, and it's funny, I have the same kind of aversion to courses and curriculum and downloads and lessons and modules and et cetera, unless it's a very, 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 very specific end result. like Jana's program. It's a course. You have to watch these videos, but then you watch a video and then you apply it to this spreadsheet and then this worksheet and then you use this template and then you build the thing. And there's an order of operations that kind of has to happen. So I definitely think that there's like a middle ground. My sold out services is done with you. It's a 12-month container. And it's that same thing where it said, okay, I I wrote this threads post the other day. I think you saw it, where the iteration of my done with you container started out as a 7K project that I was doing one-on-one with clients. And then it moved to a $2,500 a month retainer. And then it moved to this and that and all of these different iterations where I was honing what is the one result I want to be responsible for in this container and what is needed in order to provide that result. And then
Yes.
what are the questions that I'm answering over and over and over again? You're always asking people, okay, well, what do we actually need to fix? What's the conversion rate here? What's the traffic here? What's this? Right. So you're teaching people, here's how you diagnose the problem. And then your strategy is how we fix it or what we can test to have a hypothesis of what we could fix it. Right. Because obviously it's not a guarantee. And so it's a similar structure where I think about productized services and done with you containers is what's the end result? What are the milestones that need to happen in order for someone to go through to get that result? But then the to me, the most important part are those checkpoints where you actually get to interact with the client throughout their relationship with you. And I have
Yes.
7 milestones in my program. Yes, there are videos that you need to watch, but then you go into an Airtable template where you plug in data and then you submit your audit. You go into a worksheet and you map out XYZ and you submit that for review. And so there's these like, it's just volleying back and forth. You do something and then I review it and then we agree upon it and you submit it as completed work and then you add on the next pillar. So it's it's nuanced for sure and it's very highly
Yeah.
detailed. But I love it.
Yeah. And I really like this. I've been looking at what's her name? Ashley, Systems Over Stress.
Yeah, love Ashley.
So she's got the Airtable, she's the Airtable queen. And I really like the idea of being able to track client progress because right
Yes,
now, as a one-on-one service provider, it's really, really easy for me to just do that.
for sure. You can see you're in their data. You could see it. You have the
Yeah.
meetings. Yep.
But I would love to have a system in which not only could I track more people's data, but they could track it themselves as well and just see
Yes.
how much progress they've made over their time with me
Yeah.
as like a mentor.
Yeah, I love it. That
Yeah.
is my, like, favorite thing to see and get to. It's a big part of the work in sold out services where we talk I call it your authority anchor. Like, what is the number one result you want your people to get? Well, in order for you to
Hmm.
understand what to track, you need to understand what you're working toward, right? So if your
Yeah.
end result is X, what's the thing right before that that's gonna prove that that thing could happen? And then the thing
Yes.
before that, and then what do they need to have in place in order to get that result, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
love
like
that.
you said with funnels, it's super easy. The the result you want is always just to sell more of my shit, please. Like,
Exactly. Conversions, sales,
yeah,
revenue. Yeah.
yeah. Can
Yeah.
I sell more of these things? And
Yes.
so that makes my job a little bit easier in terms of I don't have to like dig in as hard. I know what you want. You just want to sell more things, and that's okay. Let's figure out how to do that.
Well, and what's really cool when you have the systems to support you behind the scenes with that, because I think what could be cool, I wanna do a part 2 of that post I did the other day of the iteration of my program because I shared the time window of the program and the delivery method and the price, but what I didn't share was what my capacity was at those different steps. And so year 1, my capacity was 1 to 3 clients per month because these are very in-depth projects rolling into retainers. That was it, right? Year 2, I did everything I could behind the scenes to try to get closer and closer to, a productized, predictable, repeatable method, framework, whatever, and I increased my capacity to between 5 and 7 clients per month, right? We're talking about a monthly basis. And at the time of this recording, I'm serving 19 clients, which is and it feels great. Like
Yeah.
it's feels really, really good. 3 of them are consulting clients and the rest are in the program. And so, yeah, it's systems, productization, systematizing, all of it is how service providers increase capacity, period.
Yeah. It's the only
Mhm.
way to do it.
It's the only way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jen, this has been so fun. I feel like we could go on
I
17 more
agree.
tangents. And so before we do that, I would love to hear and share with people listening where they can hang out with you online, where they can learn more from you, and if they have a funnel that they want to get fixed or figure out what the funnel is wrong with their funnel, then where can they go
Yes.
check that out?
You can head to my website. Honestly, that is the place that I am the most. I am not an Instagram girly as much as I probably should be. So just Jenn Green Market, or no, that's not my website.
No.
That's my Instagram. My website is the Jenn Green, Jen with two N's.com. That's where you'll find everything that's coming up. Like I said, there's a big shift happening. This is why I thought hopping on a podcast with you was really, really important,
Yeah.
because I am going from this one-to-one retainer package system to done with you as well.
Yeah.
So everything's going to be there. And if you are an Instagram girly, you can also follow me at Jenn Green Marketing.
And on Threads,
Oh yeah,
that's
I'm on
yeah,
Threads.
that's definitely where we're hanging out.
That is where
Jen,
I post my unhinged lefty
yes,
content, though. That's what I
I
say
love
all
it.
the time.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on and giving us insight into both your personal side of big changes that's been
Yes.
happening over there and business and funnels and all that good stuff. It was a joy to get to talk to you, and I hope we get to have a catch up in 6 months or a year and see how drastically different your life feels
Yeah.
and functions because of the really big changes you've made. I think you're in a really big um just it's so interesting of like your slowdown year is also you wanting to open up to serve more people. And so I
Yeah.
think those things coincide each other often. And I think that's really cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, I can't wait
Thanks
to
for
see how.
having me.
Yes.
I
Okay. Well,
appreciate
fun.
it.
Thank you so much for listening to Sell the Damn Service. If you loved what you heard today, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe, leave a rating, and drop a review. It seriously helps more service providers find the show, and it keeps me yapping into this mic every week. It's a nice, free, easy lift way for you to support the show. And hey, if you've got a friend who needs to hear this, please send this episode their way. The more people selling their damn services with confidence, the better this whole industry gets. See you next time.